Happening right now, the former assistant of Sean Combs is getting back on the witness stand. David James is his name, and he told the court yesterday about a conversation that he'd had with Cassie Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend and the star witness for the prosecution, where she said that Sean Diddy Combs essentially controlled her entire life, her career, her apartment, her livelihood. And that is why James testified when he suggested she leave Combs. Cassie Ventura said, quote, "I can't get out." Other testimony that the jury is now considering, Danity Kane's Don Richard and Ventura's former best friend, Carrie Morgan. All of them offering some powerful backing to Cassie Ventura's description of suffering years of abuse by Sean Combs. Joining us right now is defense and trial attorney Misty Marris and CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Cassie. It's great to see you guys. Thanks for being here. So, Misty, I laid out kind of a little bit of the focus, what the focus was yesterday, and it will continue again this morning as they're getting things back underway. And you said, as you were in court most of the day yesterday, you said that you thought Carrie Morgan, the former best friend, was a better witness for the prosecution than Don Richard. Why?
Yes, absolutely. So I was in court, so I was able to not only hear the testimony, but actually observe them.
Yeah.
So as far as Don Richard was concerned, her testimony related to this terrible incident, which we're calling the skillet incident, where she observes Diddy in a violent act, hitting Cassie with a skillet, and she goes into fetal position. Now that's important, but what's more important is what happened after. She testified that Diddy took her aside the following day and said, "Where I come from, when people talk, they disappear. They go missing." So she perceived that as a death threat. What the defense was able to do was really undercut that testimony because she never told the government in 7 interviews prior that she had ever heard those words. So it was coming out on the witness stand. So her credibility was impeached. As far as Carrie, though, she came off as very credible. She was there pursuant to a subpoena. She seemed to have no independent motivation. And she testified regarding that 2016 incident, saying after the fact, that terrible video, that Diddy actually came to Cassie Ventura's apartment and tried to break her door with a hammer. So that speaks directly to this idea of coercion and control, something more than just a domestic violence incident.
And that is the question, Joey, is your take on yesterday, but also how does a violent, horrible acts like this, how does it speak to, or what does it speak to in terms of the overall charges that he's facing?
Yeah, Kate, so remember about the overall charges. You're looking at RICO, which I think is, from a defense perspective, is quite overcharged. You're generally looking at mob bosses and other things, so it's being applied here. However, when you look at RICO, what do you look at? You look at organized crime. You look at someone engaging in criminality. You look at drugs, you look at guns, you look at violence, you look at kidnapping, you look at arson, you look at all these things. And so what prosecutors are doing is getting to this bad behavior, not just to dirty Diddy up, which they're doing effectively, but also to get you to that RICO issue. This was a bad guy running a criminal enterprise. When you get to the issue of coercion that Misty was speaking of, that's relevant to the sex trafficking charges. It's not just about prostitution, it's about doing it against your will. So fast forwarding, you mentioned James, his assistant, right? James gives you a couple of things. Number one, he takes you into the enterprise. And number two, he gives you, she couldn't get out. That means coercion. So notwithstanding text messages saying, "I can't wait till this next freak off," this is the government's theory that she had no real choice but to do what she was doing. That's what they're saying. The defense obviously vehemently objects to that and denies that.
Absolutely. So there's also, you've got James is on the stand once again. And we're showing some of this in the commentary that we're getting from the courtroom, which is really so helpful. I mean, what's this one? Oh, of course, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, you've got that one. That continues, and this is part of it. It's the uncomfortable. I mean, you and I have spoken to some of the stuff that was testified to early on of what they're going to be facing, what the jury is facing in court. You have also David James yesterday had testified that Combs told him that Cassie Ventura was very moldable. And does that speak to this whole conversation about trying to lay down evidence of that this was all about control?
Yes, so James is actually very important for a couple of reasons. Prior to the jury coming in, there's arguments about the scope of testimony. And what prosecutors said, James is going to talk about the means and manner of the criminal enterprise, to Joey's point. So we expect more on that. But he did testify that Cassie was moldable and young. So this is going to speak to Diddy's intent. Remember, he's the one on trial. And these crimes are intent crimes. He has to know that he's engaging in this coercive behavior to get her to comply to these commercial sex act, which is the freak off. So that speaks to that. Another notable part of his testimony yesterday, he said that one of Diddy's lieutenants, right after he started working for him, said, "This is Mr. Combs' empire, and we are all here to serve." So that's also speaking to this broader pattern of criminal conduct.
What about the potential of Cassie Ventura's mother being brought to the stand? Like, we've been told that it could happen as soon as today. What is the benefits, the risks, kind of the bounds of what she can offer here?
So prosecutors are going to do a couple of things. Number one, I think they're going to get to any behavioral differences as it relates to Cassie's behavior when she got into the relationship versus it ongoing and ending the relationship. That speaks to whether she's coerced. It speaks to her real state of mind, because this issue of coercion is a big battleground. The other thing, right, battleground meaning whoever wins that issue, right, wins the sex trafficking. You either were a freak and you did this and you knew what you were doing, or you did it because he forced you to do it, so to speak. The other issue is recent outcry witnesses. What do recent outcry witnesses do? They say, "I can't believe it, Kate. I don't believe what he just made me do. I don't understand this." Who would you say that to? Someone like your mom. That's admissible evidence. It's not hearsay. And it goes to the critical issue of whether she was consenting. And moms are sympathetic. From a defense perspective, it's a nightmare to cross-examine a mother, right? Really? You're going to go after my mom like that? But you have to kind of whittle it away, because at the end of the day, ma'am, you weren't there, were you?
All right. The rec in court right now. Thank you both so much.